If you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I always say that maybe you should go ahead and move abroad. Maybe it's time right now in 2025, it's time for you to go out there and live abroad, to make the move. Stop being a coward, go online, buy a ticket, pack up your bags and do it. Let it be a call to action. Maybe it's something that you should do and think about why. You just think of 5 easy reasons of why you should leave the country right now in 2025. And I feel like an exit from America right now just makes sense to a lot of people out there. Because the 5 reasons to leave this country are the same 5 things that most people in this country right now, most people in the United States, are so stressed about. Cost of living, housing affordability, retirement, political crisis, and social fatigue. Is leaving the country, is packing up and going, is it a panacea that'll fix everything about you? No. It's not. But I tell you right now that outside the United States, there's a great sense of peace that you can find. Living in another place that has real value on life is a place that is worth living, because in America, you simply do not have that. America has become a toxic country that eats away at its people. It cannibalizes them. It treats them simply as slaves in an economic system that is designed to pull the life force from each and every one of us. It's time to go. It's time to go. Let's think of the first thing, the cost of living. Imagine how easier it would be if you didn't have to just live your life working to pay the bills, that you can actually afford to go out there and live, to pursue the things that you're supposed to pursue as a human, to have them be options because they're not options in America. Even if it's something as simple as going and finding love, starting a family, or going on an adventure, or going and just knocking things off your bucket list when you're not focused simply on paying bills. We can actually afford to do things because the cost of living is so much lower. You can actually live a life that is fulfilling. And in the end, that's what we all want, is just a life that's fulfilled. Of course, one of the key things, and like I said, it brings us to number 2, is just housing affordability. There are places other than America in the world where unaffordability of homes is a real issue, but for most places, if we're talking about South America, Central America, Eastern Europe, Africa, most places in Asia, the cost to actually put a roof over your head isn't a daily stress for most people, especially if you're an expat. Yes, things are expensive and relative, and the US denomination that you carry while being weakened at the same time has great relative strength in many countries out there. And that gives you a great deal of options that you can actually go out there and be where you want to be. If you want to live in a city, you can live in a city. If you want to live a rural life, you can live in a rural life. If you want to go find a shack in the middle of the jungle, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Of course, the third thing, as we get older, and this goes in with cost of living, a lot of people out there, a lot of people watching this right now are getting older, and of course, it seems to be more out of reach now in the United States than it ever has been before. The idea of retiring, to actually get to the age where you don't simply have to focus on being a producer and going to work. You can actually focus on living your life. But who says that you have to wait until you're 65? Who says that you have to wait till you're 75 when knowing right now that where Social Security is looking for its closeout day, where it's not going to be able to pay its full benefits in 2034? 9 years away, people will no longer be able to rely on Social Security to supplement their income, not the way that it's been done before. The reality is retirement in America is something of the past at this point. The younger generations aren't really going to know what retirement is, because as cost of living continues to go up and wages continue to be stagnant, people are unable to save. They're unable to put money into their 401ks. They're unable to put money into stocks and bonds. They are just trying to survive. So at what point is anyone going to be able to retire? But if you leave the United States and find one of these places, one of the over 190 different countries out there in the world right now that can provide you perhaps a better standard of living that you may be able to have retiring in America, or may be able to actually give you the opportunity to retire. And like I said, not just at 65, not just at 75, but maybe even earlier. If you're somebody who has a passive income, if you're somebody who, it doesn't even have to be much, like I said, you can go out there and actually start living your life. Is it going to be in the plastic grandness and spectacle, the golden cage of America? No, it's not. You may have to live a simpler life, but a life of simplicity can be just as rich, if not more rich, than a complex life that leaves you fatigued at the end of the day. Go out there and find your peace and find the retirement that you deserve. The fourth thing, of course, is politics. How wearisome have politics in America become? One of the leading sources of anxiety that just rips apart our cultural psyche is just the constant back and forth contestation for power between our two political parties. At what point is enough and you realize that you're not going to be able to do anything about it, that all they're going to try to do is continue to take from you while taking away from your benefits? At what point do you realize that they're taking every option away from you? That at the end of the day, you're meant to put in everything that you have and give to them, while at the same time they will give you nothing. The politics in America do not represent the people of America. The politics of America represent only corporate interest and seek to drive the world into chaos. The last thing, of course, is just social fatigue. Our society is one of constant chaos that leaves you exhausted at the end of the day. The amount of friction and paranoia that runs rampant through the hearts of people of this country, it leaves you, again, fatigued at the end of the day. It leaves you stressed out. It runs you thin. It runs you bare to the point where a lot of people are just shaken messes. We live in a country filled with people who are mentally ill, but the mental illness that they have are simply due to this society that poisons you, it poisons your mind, because nothing about this is healthy. The society that we live in is as healthy as the food that we eat, and the food that we eat is well known to be poisoned by the rest of the world. Leave your dinner on the table and go find sustenance somewhere else. The social life that you can live in other parts of the world where they actually live real lives, real authentic lives, and you have real authentic people who have their own opinions, that don't just have ideological bullet points that they spit out you and they use them to define who they are. They're people who live. And of course, no, that's not every country, but like I said, this is talking about scale. And in scale in America, society here is just a death trap for the human soul. That's all that it is. And I beg you, I urge you to go out there and actually try to find a place where you can authentically be you and be accepted, no matter where that is. And if you can find it in America, that's a fantastic thing. And maybe you should think about staying. But for the vast majority of people, they're not going to find that. You've been living your entire life and you feel like something's missing. You feel like you're not a part of. You always feel like you're a part from. And you know that you're not meant to be that way. Many Americans that I have met who've moved abroad have always felt like they have had a hole in their heart somehow. And when they move to these places, although they are not able to even speak the languages of the people that are there, there's a sense of contentment that they get in just being seen. Because that's one of the things that you have in America, in our society. It's exhausting to not be seen. It's exhausting to not feel acknowledged or wanted. But leave this country and leave that sense of longing. You can get it. You can attain it. And it's beautiful. So yeah, 2025, maybe this is the year that it's time for you to actually leave the country. In 2025, it's better to live a life in another country than it is to live a life in America. Because America, the United States, is going downhill. It's out of fashion. It's on its way out. And you don't have to go down with the ship. Blaze your own trail and find the life that you want. Because it's out there. And all you have to do is go get it. If you're still here at this point, like and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate the support as always here at the channel. And whether it's rainy or whatever, it's summer. It's time to get outside, do some walking, and just love life a little bit. Everyone, have a good one.